All right, good evening, everybody. Thank you all for being here this evening. My name is Colton Comiskey. I'm a junior accounting and internal audit student. We are here to present our AI-based project named Career Builder, sponsored by Entergy. I will go ahead and let my group introduce themselves.
Hi, I'm Tristan DeSoto. I am a computer science major and also minoring in mathematics.
Hi, my name's Chloe Gray. I'm a computer science major concentrating in data science with a minor in math.
My name is Alex Oye. I'm a junior computer science major with a concentration in software engineering.
My name is Adam Brown. I'm a senior in computer science with a focus in software engineering.
My name is Skylar Dowling. I am a senior in computer science with a concentration in software engineering and a minor in digital media arts and engineering.
Awesome, thanks guys. So, who is Entergy? We got a little sneak peek of this a second ago, right? So most of y'all probably know who Entergy is because they're pretty much everywhere, right? They power our homes, they power our offices, they probably power this stadium, if I had to guess. They are the primary energy supplier of Louisiana, right? In addition to a couple other states, including Texas, Arkansas, and Mississippi. Additionally, there are 2 massive data centers being built in Bridgeland, Mississippi currently, and Entergy will be powering those. Those will be worth about $10 billion or so. So, just a few numbers for you guys. They have more than 3 million customers, probably some of, if not most of you guys. They have over 12,000 employees, and they also have $11.9 billion in annual revenue, so not too bad. So, Entergy came to us at the beginning of the semester with 2 problems. One of those is from the perspective of an HR employee. Take a random HR employee from Entergy, right? Catherine. She is looking to create job postings for one of these new data centers up in Mississippi, right? Where does she go to find the information for these postings? Here. Unorganized, messy file cabinet, right? With all of their unstructured HR data. Not ideal. The second problem, take a random Entergy employee, just not HR, just anybody, right? Say Sean. Where's Sean? Hey, Sean. Yeah, this is him, okay? He's not. So say he really wants to live in Bridgeland, Mississippi, right? So bad. And he wants to get a job at one of these data centers. Where does he go to find the information for one of these data centers? Same place, right? Not ideal. So we kind of see the issue. A lot of Entergy's HR data is extremely unstructured and hard to work with for both HR and non-HR employees. So our team got the 2 objectives at the beginning of the semester. 1, to clean up and consolidate these job descriptions so that HR is more easily able to help their employees, and then also assisting employees in kind of finding their career paths within Entergy. So now I'm going to pass it to Tristan to talk about some of the under the hood stuff.
All right, who's ready to get nerdy? Okay, so I'm going to talk about exactly how we accomplished this to solve this problem, right? So the end goal for problem B, right, we want to be able to have somebody be able to put in their current job position and then be able to get out their a path to a desired position, right? And so that's what we're aiming for. So how do we get there, right? Well, Entergy has provided us with some historical employee data, so that's also with employees, how they moved within internal job postings at Entergy, and they also gave us all the job positions they've ever made, at least as far as that I can see. So we took that and we put it into a database that we can easily process and use it later. And then we took that, we ran our AI algorithm on it to basically take 2 jobs and compare it and give it a score between 0 and 1. And then we store it in something called AWS Neptune. You don't have to know what that is, but it basically just stores relationships between jobs. And then here's the real key here is the shortest path algorithm. So imagine like you're using Google Maps or something, you're going somewhere to eat downtown tonight. You just put in the destination you want to go, and this is the same algorithm that gets you to go down the roads to the quickest path to get there. So we use that to find the best job relations to get from point A to point B. We also use our AI to analyze skill differences as well. And then another metric that I wanted to include is that we had how people moved between the jobs. That's also another metric that shows like how close two jobs are. So we have AI and that historical data. And finally, we run that algorithm, and then we return that to the user, and that's what the user's going to see. And so this is going to blow you guys' mind. Are you ready? This is the global job map of every job from Entergy's internal job postings, right? Let me see if I can show you guys. Okay, so this is basically like Google Maps, but for Entergy's job positions. They have like one of these dots here. Let's say this is Sean's job. So how do we get from Sean's job to somewhere else? Well, we're going to take that job, and we're going to find, and through these web of connections, what is the closest comparison that we can have. Another thing I wanted to point out is that we can actually get some insights into like the most pass-through job here. So like you see this area with all these connections here. That's a lot of information we can get from that. A lot of people like to go into that job. So it can be very valuable information here, and that's what we achieved here. And now I will pass it off to Chloe, and she's going to talk about more of the job consolidation.
Thanks.
Oh, sorry. Just a quick overview of the tech stack. So you don't have to know what all these are, but this is just for the nerds in the room. Something I wanted to highlight, though, you see AWS, all this stuff. This is built directly within Entergy's internet hosting environment. So you could just plop this in, and then it works immediately out of the box. So no additional setup there. That's the main thing I wanted to focus. And now I'm going to pass it off to Chloe to talk about her part.
Thanks. Okay, so we had a really interesting project in the sense that it was kind of split into two main deliverables. So like Colton said at the beginning, we had two main problems, and what Tristan just described is more for the second problem, like figuring out how you want to go from one job to another in the company. But my part of the project was a little bit more fun than that. I was given the original sets of data, which if anybody here has ever worked in HR or with data, you know, like that's rough. It was not structured, it was not organized, there were a lot of issues, and the main problem that we found was for any job, there were multiple listings in their database, but they had different descriptions or different job codes or something that would make it impossible to figure out how you're doing this. So going back to the data centers, we have to create a lot of jobs. Right now, an HR employee in Entergy, if they want to make a job listing, the first thing they do is they go to LinkedIn and they search for the job, and they find how 8 other companies are titling this position and what they're putting for the description. And then they draft one up, they send it to another HR employee, that employee checks it, leaves notes, sends feedback, and it's kind of a process until you get one that works. So what I did was I fixed that. So as you can see here, this is the front end that I built. It's pulling from the back end with the consolidated data. So now whenever they need to create a job, they just type in the title. They have everything here, which is all editable also, if you have something specific that's not listed. The expectations and capabilities, this is really specific to Entergy. They have these internal listings of things that people in these positions need to understand how to do that maybe are not intuitive to your education, or it's more about how you are as an employee. So we added those in. They can change like the level of it that's needed, and it can also be exported, download as PDF. I also added HTML after this because they asked for it. But yeah, that's what we're looking at. That's pretty much it for the job posting side of it. So I'm gonna pass it off to Alex, and he's gonna go back to the mappings.
All right, so when we're talking about the career mappings, this is the front end for what we've created. And we really wanted to make sure that the user experience was as friendly as possible. So we drafted this really simple top-down approach to make sure that there was no confusion about the next steps to take. You're asked to choose your current job, either from that given drop-down or through looking for a very specific title. And upon generation, you're shown this Entergy design that we created to make it feel familiar yet really exciting. So we have those transmission lines and bright Entergy colors that really give it that pop, while those subtle animations and legend on the bottom kind of keep your focus on it so you know that you're going from left to right as you're looking from your current role to your target role. And so now, after going over the design, I'm going to pass this over to Adam to talk a little bit more about our key features.
Thank you, Alex. So, as you can see here, I want y'all to remember the spiderweb looking image before that Tristan went over. So that was a lot of job paths. This is one of those paths right there that an employee can choose. And so, as you can see, the employee enters their current job and their target job, and once they hit generate, then it is sent to our AI algorithm that tracks the shortest path. Oops. Okay, so, my bad. Okay, so, is the video playing? Which one? Well, the video's kind of having some technical difficulties, but I'll still talk about it anyways. So each one of those nodes displays the job that the shortest path algorithm generates, right? And so each one of those nodes is clickable with information that you might want to know about the different jobs. So whether it's the job purpose, the requirements, the responsibilities, typical things that you want to know for jobs that are coming up. And so that's one thing that we wanted to make sure to implement in that flow chart. So it's easy to see, it's Entergy specific with the colors. You can see where you're going, the target job, and where you're started, and key information that you need to know for moving between those different jobs, as well as a different time that it takes to move to those different jobs. So everything that you need is right there in one place, and it's simple to use for users. So now I'll pass it on to Chloe for the results on the first data consolidation problem.
Okay, so obviously consolidated data is better for everybody. It costs less money to store, it's easier to sort through, it's cleaner, it has better descriptions, all of the above. But you also have to think about the people aspect of this. There are a lot of HR employees that are probably very frustrated with this situation that they have at hand because these data centers require tens of thousands of jobs. It's not just a few hundred. It's crazy the amount of jobs, and each of them has to have their own posting, and it has to be posted internally and externally. This is a lot of work. Like, nobody wants to do that. So it just provides so much more cleanliness to the HR department. It makes things smoother, more streamlined, and it's easy to use because, like they said, it's in AWS, so they can just drop it in right now. We don't have to go through security. We don't have to go through firewalls. It's ready to go. So I'm going to hand it to Skylar for the rest of our results.
One's the one that goes forward, right? Okay. All right, so our goal was this is our algorithm. It is streamlined to give the users the results as fast as possible that you can get to. We could have made that in Photoshop, but that is our current results page, and it works. It gives the user everything that they want to as fast as possible. During our testing, we noticed a few issues, a few interesting anomalies, as you would say. The biggest one and the most consistent one is that the data would constantly point the user to go to this job called a vegetation analyst. The data wanted you to go touch grass. So how do we fix this? We add more data. The more data we add, the more time that we have, we can sort through the data and we can find these inconsistencies and what's causing it to want to go towards vegetation analysts for whatever reason. There are two things that we would have liked to have added to this project. The first is that we would have liked to have integrated more features to narrow down your job search description. That would take more time and just more functionality to implement. The second is that we would have liked to have considered to use job families instead of individual job positions. The way how it currently works right now is that it will go through data engineer 1, data engineer 2, data engineer 3, all the way through. Instead, we would have liked to have said it just goes to data engineer and then software engineer. That's how we would have preferred it to go, but we just did not have the time to implement that. I'm going to pass it off to Colton for the rest of this.
All right, thank you, Skylar. So just as we kind of wrap up, we'll talk about a few of the most important impacts of this project. We're going to look at the HR perspective here, some more of Chloe's part with the job consolidations. And a large issue in HR is recruiting, right? Something that kind of nobody wants to do. That is a hard process either way, but especially if you are trying to recruit externally, right? You always want to generally recruit internally for a couple of reasons. Usually it costs less, just straight up on salary. And then additionally, in hiring externally, you leave some positions empty, which results in a loss of time and productivity. And then as Chloe said, either way, you are having to make a job posting, whether you are hiring externally or internally, and her work kind of fixes that. To kind of look at the general Entergy employee perspective, Sean likes that. Yeah, he's back on the screen. He likes that. So, sometimes it's easy to feel stuck kind of where you're at, right? Especially if you don't have a clear trajectory of where you want to go within your company. The career mapping tool gives you a data-driven piece of evidence of forward mobility within your company, right? So we wanted to include a quick slide on, if we had more time, kind of to add to what Skylar was talking about. One, and these all relate to the career mapping tool, by the way. So fine-tuning recommendations. Basically, you want the user to be able to say, hey, I care more about how much time it takes me to get to this position. I care more about how many job hops I'm taking to get to this position, right? So kind of allowing them to kind of make that decision would be cool. Additionally, we wanted to include a feature where the user uploads a resume. Our AI would analyze the text from this tool, or from the resume, and give personalized career feedback based on that. And additionally, it would have been cool to put like some sort of chat bot on there, just really allow the user to have full freedom in asking questions about career advice and career progression. Of course, these are things we would love to do if we had more time. So quickly, we wanted to thank everybody at Entergy that helped us in this project. Who is here from Entergy? I see Sean, Colin back there. Yeah, Tom somewhere. There you go. That's Tom right there. Yep, you guys have been extremely amazing in providing feedback and support throughout the semester. We could not appreciate you guys enough. And then all these people up here also helped us out a lot. We'd have weekly meetings and we'd get feedback on our project. Additionally, last week we went to Entergy in New Orleans and showed them the project, and we got some good feedback there. So we appreciate you guys throughout the semester and appreciate you guys for being here. Thank you.
All right.
Cool. Awesome. Good work.